Well, I became involved in film preservation due to my coming to MGM, also due to the fact that the laboratory came under my supervision. When you supervise a laboratory and you see the value of film, you see what can happen to film if it isn't properly stored with the right humidity and temperature, when you have the day-to-day problems of seeing film torn and scratched and stepped on and all the things that happens to film, you begin to realize that preserving it properly is terribly important. The minute television came in, it was obvious that film libraries would be terribly important, that there would be markets for libraries of film indefinitely, that the cost of preserving them was minor compared to the cost of producing them. MGM, as I say, did have certain pride in its films. However, when I got there and started to tour the vaults where films were being stored, I found they were being stored in really what is basically concrete bunkers all over what was then lots 2 and 3, which were outdoor lots, but they were not air conditioned and they were terribly hot. Everybody thought this was a great way to store film because, number one, you couldn't steal it, you couldn't get into it, and secondly, if there was a fire, it probably would not go up in the fire. What they didn't think of was that the important thing in the storage of film is none of those things. The important thing is the temperature at which the film should be stored and the humidity, which is about 65 degrees and the humidity of about 40. One of the first improvements that were made, not just because of me, but because I was able to convince others, was to build refrigerated vaults on what was then Lot 1 and move all that film out of these concrete bunkers and into these refrigerated vaults. We couldn't build any more refrigerated vaults on the lot, so we made a deal with a salt mine in Kansas, which is some 80 feet below the surface, where there is constant humidity and temperature 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And they had come to us and said, would you like to store your corporate records there? Because IBM is and AT&T is, and don't you think it would be a great idea to put your corporate records there? And I remember saying, why are people doing that? And they said, well, in case of atomic attack, if the Russians drop an atomic bomb on us. And I remember sitting there and thinking, well, if the Russians drop an atomic bomb on us, the papers will be saved, but I won't be. And who's going to read these papers? But anyway, corporations never think of the people, they think of the papers. So they really said to us, we think it would be a good place to put film. We tested it and found indeed it was a good place to put film, and we still put film there.